Welcome back to another video. It's a 1-0 defeat to Wycombe Wanderers in the EFL Trophy semi-final. We miss out on Wembley because of a 91st minute winner by Matt Butcher. Let me know your thoughts on this heartbreaking defeat in the comments down below. Like the video if you do want to do so, and subscribe if you're new. One subscriber away from 300. All the support is massively appreciated, as ever. I don't know where to start, to be honest with you. I'm absolutely heartbroken, and it's gut wrenching. It's like being stabbed in the back repeatedly. It's like getting electrocuted, even though I've never been electrocuted. The feeling is indescribable. It's like the Carlisle game again. Not as bad, but it's like that. And it's tough to take, to say the least. But I don't buy all this. It was only the EFL Trophy anyway, or I didn't really care about it. I did, I wanted to get to Wembley, and I saw it as a great opportunity to try and make some of the season. And it's an opportunity to see Bradford City win something, because I don't really count myself a playoff trophy as a trophy. I don't count it as that myself. I feel like it's, second place and third place is better than winning the playoffs, because it's done, it's wrapped up. Yet you don't win a trophy for that, and you win a trophy for the playoffs when you've come lower, your worst team. So I don't agree that playoffs is a trophy. And obviously last time we won a trophy was 84-85, and obviously it's forgotten because of tragic reasons and then disaster at the end. So obviously this isn't a disaster, but the problem is it is heartbreaking, because you put so much into a game, and the players will be feeling it, obviously, because you could see the only reason we lost that game is because we hadn't won it, if you know what I mean, because we put so much into it, and we were open because we were chasing the game, and we didn't want it to go to penalties. I felt like Wycombe wanted it to go to penalties. I feel like they thought they had the upper hand on the penalties. They were time wasting a bit more. They were sitting deep. They made it really hard for us to break them down, and they executed their game plan really well. It was clear to see what they set up to try and do, restrict us, and they wanted us to try and play on the surface as much as possible, and them to hope that we made mistakes by doing that. And in the end, we made a mistake, and it cost us the trip to Wembley. But I'm not going to come on here blaming Sam Stubbs for losing the ball in midfield. I feel like there's a few other players that were at fault as well. Matt Butcher throughout the whole attack for Wycombe was just stood in acres of space while no one, tracking him back. And there were a few others as well who were stood, still, whilst Sam Stubbs were still trying to tackle the ball. So I feel like there's a few to blame for it, but at the same time I don't want to blame them, because like I said, if we 1-0 up, if we're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, we could have been 5-0 up, to be honest with you. Tyler Smith, who I will blame, had about 5 chances to score today, and he just never looked like he could score. If he had a rocket launcher attached to his foot, he still wouldn't have scored. He was absolutely dreadful today, Tyler Smith. And to take it back to why I am up out and sparks out, and I don't just want to bring it up because we've lost, because I have said it in the other match reactions that I'm still up and sparks out. It doesn't change anything for me, and I'm not going to, even if we go up, I won't feel confident, and I won't have the trust or the faith in this ownership to keep us in League One, because I don't see a project or a plan that would help us compete against those teams. I feel like, you feel like you'd go straight up into the top half of League One, but I really wouldn't have faith in that at all. And then you've got to get up there in the first place. And when you look at the recruitment side of the football, we've got Stephen Gent, who's recruited Tyler Smith, who ain't good enough. We've got Matt Derbyshire sat on the bench, who ain't good enough. We loaned out Vidane Oliver, who should be our second striker and should have been playing tonight instead of Andy Cook. And so we had to go with Tyler Smith, and we had no options to bring him off, really. So the fact that we didn't have a replacement for Andy Cook, and the fact that we missed Andy Cook so much, is down to recruitment, and that's why I'll always go back to that. But I don't just want to bring it down to that, because I feel like it seems like I'm just bringing it up because we lost. But obviously it's been a problem with us all season. But I just hope we can bounce back, to be honest with you. I'm so destroyed, honestly, because I did want to win it. I wanted to get to Wembley. I went to Northampton, but I was too young, with 7. or U6, I can't remember it, and I went to Millwall, and yeah, I mean I cried walking out of there. So it's the same thing with City in it, but I can't complain with that because we give everything. We dominated them. I don't think I never like saying we deserve to win when you've lost, because I don't think you deserve to. You don't deserve to win if you've lost, because I don't think there's such a thing. And Wycombe defended well, but we should have took our chances, and they took their chance, and that's the problem. If you don't take your chances, you don't deserve to win a game, and we didn't. You have 19 shots, 7 on target. All the ones that were on target probably should have gone in, and I'm sure they'll be kicking themselves in that dressing room. But I saw a clip of Wycombe players dancing to Twist and Shout, and I felt sick watching it. But at the end of the day, I hope the players could hear it. I hope they've seen that video, or at least some of them have, and I hope that the management or the coaches can get whiff of it and can use that. Don't be afraid to use something like that as motivation, because what these players have to do now is they've got to use that defeat as motivation to go, come on now, let's make some of this season. Let's not make it fall away because we've got our heads down and we're sulking about not getting to Wembley. Let's get to Wembley. Let's turn that around. Let's be the Wycombe that's celebrating today. We can hear them. Let's make them that us. Let's see the wounded animals come fighting. I want to see those Tigers come roaring out at Barrow on Saturday, and I want to see a 3 points. I want to see a reaction, because the problem with this squad I've shouted out, I've called out the character that we've seen in the last few games, the effort levels, the character that, and the great performances, and I called it out when we went on the good 6 winning game one under Alexander and the 8 game unbeaten one. I called the character out and I said, great character, that's what I want to see from a City team. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. No, when the going gets tough, the heads have dropped. I want to come away and see you on here Saturday night and come on here and say, you know what, this team is a Bradford City team, because we've seen it tonight, we've seen it last week, we saw it, for the last 4 games, we've seen it, and we've seen it over periods of time, but we haven't seen it on a consistent basis. I haven't seen this performance enough. And that's why we're not in the playoffs. If you see that performance week in, week out, and it's consistent, I've seen it from a few players, but not from a consistent team. And if I see it from a consistent team and we bounce back Saturday, I have no doubts that we'll get into the playoffs, but I have to see that against Saturday, and I have to see a bounce back, because I don't see a bounce back. I see a good winning one, a good unbeaten one, and we then lose a game, and then the heads drop, and then we can't find another win, and we've got to really scrap for it. And then we get the win, and then we're bouncing away like a kangaroo again, and and then that defeat comes, and then the head drops again. We've had Mark Hughes this season, who a lot of the players were here last season under Mark Hughes, and we barely had. I don't know how many wins we had under Mark Hughes this season. I'd say 4 wins under Hughes, which ain't good enough. You can't be starting a season like that, because that's why we are where we are now, because we started so poorly. And then under McDonald, again, they played for that new manager. They got a bounce out of him. So obviously we had a bounce last season under Hughes in periods, and that was sort of consistent. We never had a great one, we never had a bad one. When we lost, we sort of drowned it out with a draw, and then we picked up with a win. So it sort of, we just sort of walked our way into the playoffs by not dropping out of them. So we never really got tested in that way. When we had setbacks, we never had a setback. Whereas at the start of the season, we really struggled to get going. And then Mark Hughes went, Kevin McDonald came in. We saw a fantastic start, and let's get a spring in our step. Let's get a happy dressing room, and let's just play entertaining football, and that's what we did. But then we lost 2 games, and then it went into the Alexander and Truman, and then Alexander, and then we couldn't get a win. And then we changed a few things up, went on a good winning run. January were terrible, and then we picked up in February as of now. We've lost. I can't see another bad one, because if we do, we're definitely not going up. We've got a tough task to go up now, but I want to see that character, and I want these players to look themselves in the mirror, and I want them to realise that they're Bradford City players, and they've got to bounce back now. and they have to show that performance. Because I'll always say, if we see that performance Saturday, and we see it the Saturday after, then on Tuesday against Doncaster, then at Accrington, and we see it for these last 13 games, they're all cup finals now. We've got to go into it like the next game is Wembley, and we've got to win to get to Wembley, because that's how it's got to be, because we've got a mountain to climb. That mountain's Everest, and the altitude is getting high, and we'll get sickness bugs along the way. Kelly got injured today. I hope it's not serious, because it looked like he were going to play on with it. Came out in the second half, and then he goes down again. That's concerning. Jake Young, don't know what's happening with him. Lewis Richards, I hope he's back Saturday, because we have to rotate that squad. McDonald's played a full 90 today, played again on Saturday, so he's playing Saturday, Tuesday, and he's going to get really tired. He can't start Saturday, so you need Gilliard in midfield, and you need Richards to be back, because Rydell's just off the pace, isn't he? For me, he's not at the levels of where we need him to be, unfortunately. So yeah, we need Cook out today, Sam Walker out today, Jamie Walker's coming back to full training, Tariq White's back, so we're getting bodies back, but we're also getting bodies out as well. So it's all about trying to restrict those injuries. But I've gone on too long here, 11 minutes talking about the match. But just to summarise, I'm distraught, heartbroken. Words can't really describe how I'm feeling. And we've missed a good opportunity to get to Wembley, and that's all it is. It would have been nice. We've got to pick ourselves up, and I hope they use it as more motivation to pick themselves up and to go again, because like I say, it's big Saturday. If we don't win Saturday, I'd worry about where the mentality goes. But if we win Saturday, I have confidence in this team, and that's where it's at. I can't wait for Saturday, because I want to see that performance again. But it's about seeing it again. And I've always said it. I've been praising the defensive performance recently, and it has been fantastic. But I've always said, you only need one chance in football. It doesn't matter how you set up, you are always going to get a chance, and you've just got to hope you take it. You could have 20 chances like we had today and not take that chance. Not take those chances, and then the opposition go capitalise off a mistake and score, and they've won 1-0. That happens in football, and you can play like that, because it's what gets results, and it got them to Wembley, didn't it? So can't have no complaints with them, or as frustrating as it is. Into a player ratings, Colin Doyle. I'll go quickly through this because I've already gone on quite a while. Colin Doyle, he gets a free. He didn't have a lot to do. The goal took a deflection. He's not at fault for it at all. And he was as steady as he could be. He's come in, and you've got to praise his character for coming in, and he's played through a couple of knocks as well to play in this competition. But it was all right today, Doyle. Into a back line, Sam Stubbs, he made the mistake for the goal. Like I say, I'm not going to criticise him for it, and I'm going to sort of forgot it happened, because he was absolutely unbelievable. He was colossal in that back line tonight. Sam Vokes got absolutely wrestled out the game. I didn't realise him, and I didn't notice him, sorry. He was first to everything. He was absolutely fantastic, Sam Stubbs, and I hope that he don't blame himself too much, because I saw him, his reaction to that goal, and Gilliard spoke about it after, talking about Stubbs. So I think he's took it. I don't think he's took it well. So I hope that he realises that on Saturday he came in, put a shift in midfield, great character to do that, and then today he's had an unbelievable performance at the back, and one little mistake has cost us Wembley, and I hope that he don't beat himself up about that, because we need that performance that we saw today from Sam Stubbs week after week. Because he was absolutely unbelievable. Fantastic performance from him again, and hopefully, like I say, he don't beat himself up about it. Kieran Kelly gets free. He only played 45 minutes, so I can only give him average. John Tompkinson as well came off when we went for it, with Pointer and Chapman coming on for Smallwood and Tompkinson. The subs were too late. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. I'm not going to come on here and say the subs were too late. Disgraceful, Alexander. Because I want I wouldn't have, if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't have made the subs. So I'm not going to be hypocritical. I wouldn't have made them. I'll be honest, because I thought I wouldn't have wanted to kill the momentum of the team. When we're chasing and we're fighting and we've got momentum on our side, and it looks like we will get a chance and it'll fall to us, and you don't want to disrupt that. And unfortunately, it will get said that it was too late, but who do you bring off? Because no one was having a bad game apart from Tower Smith, and they brought him off. But yeah, Tompkinson, yeah, he was brilliant again. The whole back line were good. I'll give him a 3 because the problem was Wycombe didn't trouble us too much. So yeah, but Halliday 4, fantastic down that right wing, possibly man of match. But I'm gonna give it Odra because I thought he just had that special wow factor. Wow. He was fantastic. I tried to sound like Jurgen Klopp there, it didn't really work out. But yeah, Odrai he was unbelievable. I'm going to talk about Halliday. Odrai can wait, but Halliday was unbelievable down that right flank. I think his delivery could have been better. There were a few crosses that he just couldn't lift it. He didn't get the lift on it. There were one that he played across, but we intercepted it. It were heading towards Kavanagh. That one didn't quite reach. A couple of other poor deliveries as well, but you've got to take into fact that the conditions aren't great, and that'll play its part. But I thought defensively nothing got past him. An absolute warrior. He runs through brick walls, and he puts in a shift every week, and he was fantastic again, Halliday. And he showed on live TV what he's all about, and there'll definitely be teams watching him today and thinking, God, I'd love a Brad Halliday in my team because he shows 100%, and that's what you want to see. And he were again fantastic, Brad Halliday. So we'll go to Clark O'Dra because I already sort of meandered into him. He was unbelievable, Clark O'Dra. His first touch was sublime. He was taking it round one, dropping his shoulder to another, having a few shots and a few pops off at goal, and he deserved the goal, to be honest with you. He was knocking on the door, and unfortunately it kept getting slammed in his face, and we just needed someone nice to open it and say, here you go, here's a tap in. But the problem was I wouldn't say he lacked composure, because I've criticised him for being too relaxed, and that's what he said in his pre-match interview, that Alexander said, you're too relaxed, I want you to run more, and that's what he's been doing. And he was tracking back, he was aggressive in his play, but for me he lacked a bit of composure, and I think he could have took a couple of touches, but I'm not going to criticise him for that, because I wanted him to get more confidence and to get more at players and to take them 1v1 and get his shots off, and he's definitely reaping the rewards of that. And I think he got man of match, or was it Gilead? But he was brilliant, Odran. I want to see that on a more consistent basis. Kevin McDonald, again, he just controls the game, takes the sting out of it, plays the right passes, intercepted a lot in midfield as well. A lot didn't get through the midfield because of him. And Smallwood, again, Small gets a 4, fantastic again. I thought on the ball he were a bit weaker on it, but in terms of pressing and getting tight to his men and making the right tackles at the right time, we missed him in the last game, I felt. So I thought he had a really good game against Smallwood. In the team, Gilead as well gets a 4. A lot of praise from Gilead in the game, and he definitely deserves it because he gives 110% week in, week out. And down that left wing, he were cutting inside on his right, taking a few shots. His placement of passes were fantastic as well, creating a lot for your Caverners to run into the gaps of their defence. And I thought he had a fantastic performance again, going up and down that wing, and shows his effort levels and his work rate. I think for their goal, I did realise him stop, but again, there was a few players who sort of stopped when Stubbs lost the ball or when he were tackling them, and I can't blame them because they ran the socks off today, and not one player can be criticised for effort levels. But Gilead can never be questioned for that because he was absolutely unbelievable down that left flank. But if Richard's available, he's got to come back in Saturday. Kavanagh gets a 4 as well. I thought he was really dangerous, live wire. He's like a bit of a, I'm not going to say Yorkshire Terrier because I'm not going to mention them a lot, but a Chihuahua. He's just always biting at your ankles. He's small, but he's always nippy, and I bet he's really annoying for defenders, and that's what you want to see. He made a few mistakes from pressing them, and I think, you know, he had a bit of quality as well, taking on a couple of their players, getting a few shots off. Again, unlucky not to score, but it's all right being unlucky not to score. You've got to have that cutting edge, and that's something we didn't have today. And Tyler Smith, he gets a 1, because I thought for effort levels it was there, the quality was just non-existent, and unfortunately he cost us the game, because he could have had 4 or 5. You know, he had that first minute, he's got a chance that you dream of. You know, you're in bed the previous night and you're laying there and you're picturing a chance, and it's that chance that Tyler Smith gets in the first minute, and he puts it straight at keeper, and it's a tame effort. And he had a couple of others as well throughout the game that he didn't take. And you've got to question that. And if we had Cook, it probably would have been a different story. If he takes a few of those chances, again, I don't think the score in the last minute, because we're not as open. But I'm just glad Cook's back Saturday, because it's not working out with Tyler Smith. But let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. Oh, well, I'll just tell you why he gets a 1 and not a 0, because again, I thought effort levels, obviously first 20 minutes was more hoofball from us, and we realised we could get the ball down and play a bit more, and we were sort of, our target man were their centre backs' heads, and we were looking for knockdowns, and Dodger and Kavanagh win the gaps, taking the shots off, because Smith were working hard to get the knockdowns and to put pressure on them. So, you know, they were bouncing back towards the penalty area. So I thought he did well in that regard, but his finishing was absolutely atrocious. I mean, it was up there with a Theo Robinson, a Guthrie, and all those type of strikers' performance today from Tyler Smith. You've just got to say it cost us, and unfortunately, that is the reason why we're not going to Wembley for the time being. Like I say, we've got to use it as confidence, and we've got to use it as motivation now, to show that endeavour to react to that, and to make sure we're not defeated, and to make sure that we're ready to go to Wembley again, because that's what we've got to do. We've got to have that belief. We're 2 points off, results went our way Tuesday, and we've got to bounce back with a win against Barrow. So let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. Like the video if you did do so, and 300 subscribers, we're 1 away. Thank you for the support, it's massively appreciated. No Wembley, but let's hope that Wembley's just around the corner and we can bounce back with a win against Barrow on Saturday. Have a good one.